So, members of the Fourth Estate, I want to welcome you to this brief press conference. My name is Honorable Kipruto Kimosop, and today I address this press conference as the National Executive Committee member of County Assembly's Forum, representing North Rift. That is the position that I address this press conference today. But also, of course, I am the MCA Mochongoi Ward, a member of Baringo County Assembly. I have called you here today regarding what happened yesterday. What the country witnessed yesterday in Nairobi County Assembly, where we saw police officers in uniform enter the presence of the Nairobi County Assembly and disrupted members, molested members, brutalized members, and we even saw a female member, honorable member of the County Assembly, being beaten that was unharmed. Clearly, she didn't have any force against the police, but we saw her beaten, humiliated before the cameras and before the country. That was completely unacceptable. The country witnessed a serious injustice, a heinous brutality against the members of Nairobi County Assemblies. I have been in touch with the members of the Nairobi County Assemblies yesterday and this morning, and actually what was happening yesterday is that members were on their way to the office of the Speaker to serve the Speaker with a notice of motion to impeach the Speaker of Nairobi County Assembly. A simple procedure, just serving the Speaker of a notice that had been signed by the members. It didn't need to attract any drama. And that now police officers were called to actually obstruct the service that members were going to serve the Speaker. Clearly obstruct justice. Impeachment of a Speaker of a County Assembly is stipulated in law. It is stipulated in the County Government Act. It is stipulated in the Constitution of the Republic of Kenya. It is stipulated in the standing orders of all assemblies across this country. And there are procedures. When you serve the Speaker, it follows that from there, some process begin. And it needed really not to have been a big issue. What the police officers ideally would have done was to facilitate the service. If there was any problem, they should have helped to ensure that the facilitation of the service is done. But really, unfortunately, police officers came in, one, to obstruct the service to the Speaker, actually taking part in a matter that completely does not belong to them. Because the question of impeaching or not impeaching a Speaker is a question of the members of the County Assembly of Nairobi or any other county assembly in this republic to determine. It is not within the purview of the police officers or any other organ. It is clearly a matter within the purview of the County Assembly. So I have called this conference on behalf of members of county assemblies in the entire North Rift, from Turkana to Nandi County, to actually condemn with the seriousness it deserves what happened in Nairobi yesterday, what happened to honorable members of Nairobi County Assembly. It should be clear that members of the County Assembly are constitutional office holders. They are state officers. They serve this country, and they are honorable members. In fact, what the police officers did yesterday is against all principles, cardinal principles of protection of the legislatures, all cardinal rules of the Commonwealth of how members of any legislature are to be protected. In this country, we have the County Assemblies Immunities and Privileges Act. County Assemblies presence across this republic by law, passed by Parliament, passed by Senate, and signed by the President, by law are protected. Police officers are not supposed to interfere or enter into the prisons of the county assembly unless there's death, unless there's murder, unless there's anything else. But the Immunities and Privileges Act allows members and protects members from this kind of brutality. So the police officers broke the law in regard to that account. Number two is that what are we sending? What messages are we sending now? Are we saying, and we have seen this coming slowly by slowly. We saw a law on recall. We saw recall clauses watered down against the members in this country. So that now the processes that are going to be used in recalling members of county assembly, for example, are not the same processes that are going to be used in recalling a senator or in recalling a member of the National Assembly. So is this a message to members across this country? Are we being intimidated? Are members being intimidated across this country in light of the push for referendum and PPI and all this kind of thing? Is the national government sending a message to members of county assemblies across this country? Are they sending a message that they can do anything? They can come to our prisons, they can brutalize us, and they can humiliate us before the cameras and before the country in the manner that they did. So I joined the rest of our colleagues across the country, and we, together with the National Executive Committee of CAF, I joined the rest of the colleagues in demanding that the IG, the Inspector General, holds the county assemblies of Kenya an apology, holds honorable members of this republic, members of county assemblies of this republic, an apology. And we demand that apology within 24 hours from now. And we team up as members all over this republic in demanding for that apology. And we are asking the President of this republic to take cognizance of what is happening to honorable members of county assemblies in this country. And particularly because this was a woman. This was a woman, an elected woman in this country. What message are we sending? Are we sending that women are lesser beings in leadership? Are we sending the message that those women who struggle hard to go into leadership have no rights? Their rights can just be trampled upon. The rights that we have today, the progressive Bill of Rights that we enjoy today in this country, was as a result of bloodshed, as a result of serious protestations, as a result of serious fights by our forefathers, by revolutionaries that started this country. So we have the Bill of Rights in this country, and we have the Universal Bill of Rights in the United Nations, courtesy of progressive forces, progressive efforts. It is not a favor. It is not a favor that we should have rights, and those rights should be protected. It's not a favor. It's not a favor from the IG. It's not a favor from the state. It's not a favor from the country. They are rights. So that is the reason why I've called this press conference. We are clearly not happy. We serve this country as honorable members of county assemblies. We approve budgets for the executive. The same speaker that you are shielding from impeachment is a speaker elected by members of the county assembly. Beatrice Elachi holds that position courtesy of the original vote that was taken by members of Nairobi County Assembly. So if members in their own wisdom elected Beatrice Elachi, you cannot deny them the right to recall her, to impeach her. I mean, the same Beatrice Elachi was not brought there by force, was not brought there by police officers. They were elected by the members. And by the way, Beatrice Elachi had not been in that assembly for about 1 year as a result of this contest that we are seeing. But along the way, the same members, in the spirit of moving forward, and even as CAF, that was part of the engagements that we thought it should move the country forward. The same members decided to party the hatch and engage Beatrice Elachi and invited Beatrice Elachi and moved on with the county assembly. So if for some reason they have decided to recall their confidence, to recall their support and follow the law in impeaching her, it is within their purview. So that it should not look like when we are approving a budget, when we are approving CCs, when we are approving CEOs, when we are approving public service board members, when we are approving reports we are doing our work. But when we move to impeaching a speaker, a governor, censor motions, then it looks like we are not doing our work. It looks like we don't know how to do our work. I think this culture of demeaning members of the county assembly has to stop. We are an integral part of this country. We are an integral part of the Constitution of the Republic of Kenya. The drafters of the Constitution found it fit to create county governments. And in creating the county governments, create the executive and create the assemblies. And in creating the assemblies, they found it fit that we get a speaker that is not member of the county assembly, but that is elected by members of the county assemblies. And in doing all that, the same drafters of the law, the same drafters of the Constitution, created avenues of also checkmating the speaker, the governor, the deputy governor, the CCs. It is powers conferred on us by the Constitution of the Republic of Kenya. So basically, that is the press conference that I have called here to add my voice. And I have seen many voices added by women parliamentarians. I want to thank them so much from the bottom of our hearts as members of the county assemblies. I have seen the Women Caucus chapter. I also want to thank them so much for the voices that they have added. So basically, that is the reason why we are here. We are going to be adding our voice more, and we have given an ultimatum of 24 hours. If failure to do that, we have no alternative but to storm the office of the IG and find out from the IG exactly what it entails, what his office has for the members of this county assembly. And we will not accept intimidation. We will not accept intimidation. We will not take any intimidation at all, at all. We did not apply to be members of these county assemblies. We got elected, we got nominated by right, by our political parties and by our citizens in this country. And so this kind of goose games around, this kind of intimidations and blackmails around will not be accepted. Thank you.
Maybe the kind of protection that Elijah is having, does it mean that she is being protected by somebody maybe?
Of course, you cannot rule out. Of course, you cannot rule out this whole narrative about the system, that so and so is in the system. So what we are saying, whether you are in the system today or tomorrow or yesterday or in 10 years, we are all supposed to observe the rule of law. If you have the system, for example, don't use police officers. What is the panic for? What is the fear for? Why don't you defeat the motion of impeachment in the floor of the House? Because the system will not come to the floor of the House and vote. If truly you have the system, why don't you have that system work for you through the rule of law? There's nothing wrong with having any system in this country, but the point is, and any other person, power is temporary. You may actually think that you have those who are being chased today, purportedly, were in the system years. You know, we have seen systems change hands within a sprinkle of times. All we are asking, for us, we don't care the arrangements that Nairobi has, the political dynamics that Nairobi has. We are only asking for the rule of law. If you are being served, accept to be served, then defeat the service, defeat the impeachment motion in the floor or through the processes. You know, but imagining that you will use police officers to brutalize members and intimidate members so that you cling on to power for long is defeatist. I mean, completely defeatist. It's hogwash.
Is it politics between Sonko and the national government that is making it?
I think, as I said, I may not be an expert of the dynamics of what is happening in Nairobi. My only presence on this stage today is to call for the rule of law. The way dynamics of Nairobi work, like they have a director general, they have the governor Sonko, they have all these succession politics in Kenya, they have the PPI stories and referendum politics and handshake politics. It's not our business as County Assemblies Forum. Play your politics. Every county have their way of playing politics, even us in Baringo, even us in North Rift. We have our dynamics that are so fluid, that keep mutating every time. But what we are saying is, let us play our politics within the rule of law. Within the rule of law. That is all we are saying. If you think you have numbers, because probably you have the president, or you have the system, or you have MUTYAMBAI, or whatever, let those systems help you get the numbers in the floor. That is all we are saying. And look at what happened, for example, in Kitui, where Ngilu was to be impeached. Through whatever process, whether negotiation or whatever, that motion was adjourned to pave way for a procedure, a discussion, a lobbying, or whatever. Something that happened without much drama, you know. Look at what happened in for example, Kiambu, where members impeached their governor. It went to the Senate, and it was debated. This one of Kirinyaga still went to the Senate, and it was debated. But we saw in Kirinyaga the same brutality, for example. So we are seeing a method, and this is a warning to the country, that we could be heading to situations where members of county assemblies are being trampled on, are being silenced, you know, are being suppressed for whatever reasons. And I think there's a bigger agenda. For me, I read a bigger agenda, because why would police officers, for example, do what they did in the full glare of the camera? When they know there is a rule of law, when they know there is IPOA, when they know there is all these contestations, why would they do that? I suspect there's a scheme to send a strong message to the county assemblies that as we move to the so-called referendum or the so-called PPI or whatever it is, we would have been clamped down so much that we must listen to the executive or to the national government. So thank you so much, members.